Okay, this is the question set for the first Intro to C video. I am going to take a look at the stream now and see if there are any questions that we should answer right off the bat. Let's see. There is a lot of stuff there. Abner Colombre, how many videos do you think you'll do before you actually start coding the game? So the game will start coding on Monday. And I guess it depends what you mean by coding the game, because on Monday, I will show you how to do some things, which is basically the minimal Windows wrapper necessary to run a game. And so that'll be about a week probably of me showing you all those things. And then we will move on to actually coding the game the week after that. But it may run long. I don't know. I haven't done many of these. I try to go very slowly because I know it's stupid and probably boring for a lot of people, but my goal was to make something that honestly fairly beginner people could watch. And so I would like them to have enough information to be able to take the things that I've said, go do some studying on their own, and understand what happened. And so it will go much slower than it would go if it was it's not going to be me live coding a game. It's going to be me live teaching how to code a game, which is very different, and it will take longer. ARRGT, what libraries do you plan to use in the game development? None. Absolutely zero. There will be none. It will be 100% from scratch. Javier Rekf, what about Emacs plus MingW? Emacs will be the editor used during game development. I will not be using Ming yet. I will be using Microsoft's Visual C compiler, but the one that you can download for free works the same, so you don't have to pay for it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave the leave that window up. Let's see. What's the A in output debug string? That's a good point. I did not cover that. I should have covered that. So the A in output debug string refers to the fact that it is taking an ASCII string. And I think I will actually leave a note to myself. Explain what the A is next time. So that we will talk about that next time. Yes, basically at one point during Windows' history, they decided to change from ASCII to Unicode because they wanted to start supporting foreign languages that could not be represented using an 8-bit character set. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about what these things are because I'd rather explain that next time on the main stream. So when this happened, they decided to switch to a 16-bit encoding for Unicode. And basically what that is it goes from 8 bits per character to 16 bits per character. Now, the problem with that is that it's completely incompatible with anything that uses ASCII. And the reason for that is because there might be zeros in that string. And in ASCII Z, which is the format used for C, 0 means you've come to the end of the string. So they couldn't really use Unicode by just passing Unicode to functions that were supposed to take strings and have it work, which is what happens with UTF-8, a more modern Unicode encoding made by the Plan 9 guys because they knew what they were doing, unlike the people from Windows who didn't. Basically, it means that all of the functions in Windows had to now be multiplied so that they could take both ASCII versions and Unicode versions of strings. Now, of course, they didn't want to make everyone have to now call new functions. They wanted old Windows functions to still compile. So what they did is they made all functions actually be macros that switch based on whether or not you're compiling in Unicode or in ASCII mode. Now, this happened to default to compiling in Unicode, which I don't have a problem with. That's just that's what Visual Studio did when I created the project. But what that means is that if I try to pass an ASCII string, which is what I had wanted to pass because I want to go look at it in the debugger later and show you how the string works. That was something I was going to do. I will do on the next stream. I didn't want to have to actually make a Unicode string there. So instead of going and changing the compile type to be ASCII instead of Unicode, what I did is I bypassed the macro because the macro is just output debug string. And in fact, I don't know if you can do this in here. Here you go. Look at that. Sometimes the IDE actually works. You can actually see what happens here. Do you see these two function declarations? If you're a beginner, you may be a little lost because there's a little bit much in here, but they're just like the kind of things we talked before. Remember the void? This is a capital void because Windows defined their own, but long story. Anyway, here's that output debug string. And here's that output debug string again, but with a W after it. A stands for ASCII, W stands for wide. It means wide character. And wide character was the 16-bit characters because they were bigger. They were 16-bit instead of 8-bit. So if you look here, there's then an if-def Unicode. If-defs we haven't covered yet, but what they basically are is something that says only do the next part if you're compiling in a particular, if this particular thing evaluates to true. And so in this case, if the Unicode symbol happens to be defined. If it does, we're going to make output debug string mean output debug string W. And pound define is a thing that basically does word substitution. Again, these are all things we'll cover much later. But if it's not, then it will define it to output debug string A. So you can see that the actual functions are actually all here. So when you look up output debug string, you'll see a function prototype for it in MSDN. In fact, I can do that right now. If I want to go in MSDN and say output debug string, you'll notice that I actually get a function declaration for it, a function prototype for it, that looks like there's a function called output debug string, but there isn't. That's just the name that actually is the macro that resolves to whichever one you were building on. And so I said, well, I don't want to deal with that right now, so I'm just going to call A directly, because I know that will take the ASCII string, which is what I wanted, so that I don't have to do a pound define of Unicode, because I didn't want to talk about that at that particular time. Hopefully that answers the question for you. Now, I got to scroll back. I'm sorry. Twitch makes it very hard to answer questions in a good way. So I'm going to scroll back here and take a look. What is the MI2? OK, recursive Casey, we solved that. OK, how often will you do these videos? These videos will be every weeknight at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time until the game is done. And I will take some nights off if I have specific things I have to go to or something like that. But in general, most weeknights, 8 p.m., there will be a programming stream. And I will explain every last thing there is to do in making a game. OK, there are OK, OpenGL, DirectX, or what? So that's interesting. Someone I think is asking whether I'm going to use OpenGL or DirectX for the game. The answer is neither. I will be showing you how to do all of the rendering yourself. It will not be 3D. It will be 2D, so it will be a sprite-based game. It will be a high-end sprite-based game, and it will be a very, very intricate code base because there's a lot of things I want to cover. So it will be a pretty cool 2D game, I think. But it will not be 3D. And I had a lot of reasons for that. One is because I think that really wants a separate series. And so what I wanted to do was do a 2D game first to show you all the stuff involved in programming a game except for the 3D math. And then we'll do the 3D math in a separate series if that turns out to be something I really want. Many years from now when this one's done, because it's going to be a while. But anyway, yeah, so no DirectX, no OpenGL. It will all be things that are completely 100% applicable on every platform. You will be able to do it booting fresh out the BIOS on a Raspberry Pi if you wanted to, with absolutely no libraries, no nothing. So we will be coding as low level as you can get. Let's see. FGC hype. Is this the same Visual Studio setup you're using for the Witness? Yes, although I don't edit in Visual Studio. Yes, it is the same setup I use for coding on the Witness. I don't really program much on the Witness anymore. I'm just doing basically maintenance work now and optimization work on occasion when there are things that I can do in the code that I wrote. But I'm not programming on the Witness at the moment, other than a few chunks of time to basically just support code that I wrote for them. This stuff is gold even to seasoned programmers. Thanks for doing kind of stuff. Oh, well, thank you very much for the kind words. I really hope some people find it useful. Thank you very much. Are you going to be using the Windows and what OpenGL for the game? Okay, so for the actual game, again, no OpenGL, no DirectX. It'll be completely raw, and it will be all platforms. So I will show you how to do it on Windows first, because that's the thing most people have, but I will do a adjunct week at some point for Linux, Mac OS X, and Raspberry Pi at least. I don't know if I'll do Android. I definitely won't do iOS because I hate closed platforms and I refuse to deal with code signing. So that's not going to happen. But other platforms, any platform where I can develop and deploy an application without getting it code signed, I would probably show you how to do platform code for. Okay. ANSI, not ASCII, Windows API. I'm sorry, I don't understand some of those. I would say goal met. If you're running test review in the console, can the output dimension be captured or used in some way? Okay. Idiocracy asks, if you're running test.cpp in the console, can the output of output debug string A be captured or used in some way? The answer is not really. Output debug string, I only used it because it's the most straightforward thing to use when I'm doing a little demo like that, where I'm just trying to focus on showing you very, very basic things. Output debug string is basically a special purpose call in Windows that is specifically for debug output. So it will not show up in the console. However, there are programs which capture it. Sysinternals, for example, if you know of the sysinternal suite, and if you don't, you can just go in here and search for sysinternals, and you will see this guy here. Sysinternal suite is basically a thing with a bunch of stuff that you probably would enjoy if you are a low-level kind of fellow. And one of them in there is a thing that will capture the debug stream from running applications. And so if you would like to see the debug string from an application that somebody has shipped or that you have shipped and you are not running it in debugger or can't run it in the debugger for some reason, that is how you would do that. Now, we will certainly cover a bunch of things about how to do debug code and all that stuff. We will probably not use output debug string for very much, but when you are in Windows, it is a great backdoor hack thing to just, I really need to output something quickly without doing much work. So it's really good to just know that it's there. I should make another note here, also \n, because I didn't display what that was, so I want to talk about that as well. Okay, how much will you be relying on Windows-specific stuff for future parts? None. Absolutely none. Only the week of Windows programming, or to however long it takes me to show you the minimal Windows shim to run a game, will be Windows. Everything else will be non-Windows. The game itself will run assuming that it has a flat address bitmap to do its rendering to, and a flat address sound output stream, as well as an input that consists primarily just of a joystick state and a keyboard. That is it. So every last little thing we do besides the platform weeks, which will be very brief and mostly involve just me showing you how to get the platform out of your way, will be 100% applicable to every single platform now and forever, as long as you can render to a bitmap. Let's see. Here's a good doc on ANSI versus wide. Oh, okay. He was saying, someone was saying I was saying ASCII, ANSI. I should be saying ANSI, not ASCII. I don't know if that's actually true. I'm sorry. I've always thought of the A as ASCII, but it may be very true that it's actually ANSI, meaning an ANSI standard for ASCII or something like that. The A in output debug string A instead of the W. So I don't know. I may have misspoke there, and you should definitely look it up if you care. I don't think I care at all, but. Let's see here. ANSI C, if you don't want to get tied to Windows, SDL. I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't covered. Inversion of SDL. Let me post these videos on the website. Okay. Someone asked if we'll post a list of these videos on the website blog. Okay, so actually, the answer is yes. There is a site. It will be announced on Monday to correspond with everything. It's called handmadehero.org, and you can go to handmadehero.org, and it has absolutely everything about the game. It has a way to email me if you have a question outside of the Twitch chats and things like that, because I won't always see them in Twitch chats. So, you know, if it's something important and you really want me to cover it, you know, you can email it there. You can get to the Twitter stream for it, which will say when we are live starting Mondays. You can get to the archive, which is the YouTube channel that will have them all, and eventually I will actually have a special page for that, which break them into lessons so you can view them and learn. There is a live button so that you can get to the Twitch stream anytime if it, if you think it's going on, you can get there. And there is the game, which if you want to support this project, you can pre-order. There's nothing yet. Obviously, it won't start till Monday, so unless you're just trying to give me $15 for free at this point, I would say wait to click that button until you've seen if you like the series and want the game. But the nice part about the game is it will come with all the source code, and I will be zipping the source code every day. So if you want to practice with me at home or try experiments in the code base, the reason that this pre-order is here at all is just because instead of waiting until the game is out, I thought that people might want to code along with the series, and the game comes with the source. So I figured that would be something that would be good, and so you can pre-order it if you want to. You can also notice that there are the platform icons here. They will light up as they are ready. I don't know if it will be a game that's allowed on Steam or whatever. I don't deal with any of that stuff, so I can't speak to that. But for the other ones, I do plan on eventually doing the various platforms that are here, and they'll light up once we do the platform layer for that thing. So this site, if you bookmark it, should just have everything you need, and you don't have to buy the game or anything to view the videos. The archive will be free for everyone forever, and anyone can take the whole course and watch the whole thing. So. Let's see. If you're doing this. For the people saying thank you for watching. This is a project I really wanted to do, and I'm just super old school, and I really love old school programming. And one of the things that's true about me is I was kind of born a little too late to really be an old school programmer, because by the time I was old enough to be in the game industry, no one really does super low level programming anymore. But we still do a fair bit of it. And it's the type of things that a lot of people on engine teams and stuff do. And I really wanted to kind of preserve that tradition in some sense and show the stuff that I know. And you know, I'm not even the expert on a lot of things that are super low level. And so I was kind of hoping other people would see it and maybe do live streams of the stuff that they do and low level coding that they do. And it would kind of just, I don't know, I really wanted to get some of this stuff out in the open that's just kind of all sort of, you know, weird apprentice-y art stuff that you learn by going to a game company and programming with people who've programmed for a long time, or, you know, just trying to piece stuff together yourself. And I mean, I had to learn entirely by myself because there was no internet at that time and there was no documentation or stuff really to use. So you kind of had to occasionally find books where you could, and, you know, just do it that way. And so this is basically a kind of a goal to kind of go back to the style of coding that was done in those days while still modernizing it and going, here's all the things that I value as an old school programmer by managing the memory myself, writing my own renderer, things like that, that I think are good for people to know and to do as exercise to become better programmers anyway. Like, I think even if you're going to go program something in Unity, or you're going to go program something using a pre-made engine or a bunch of libraries, knowing all of these things makes you so much more powerful, because you can always go down there and fix things if you need to, or you can always escape from them and do your own stuff when you need to. And it just teaches you a lot of things that just make you more aware and better programmers. So I'm really excited about this project, and so really I should be thanking you for tuning in. So thank you so much for watching. The fact that there's 100 people on this stream is amazing, and I thank every single one of you for showing up. It's awesome. Thank you. It makes me feel really good. So anyway, keep going on the thing. It won't be just on Molly Rocket. Okay, I think I answered those questions. This is pretty neat. I did not was taking this so seriously. Oh, it comes with a source. Awesome. Doing this, thank you. Okay, this is just podcast though. This is very possibly. Okay, so I think I've answered all of the questions now. Will I still be doing the podcasts? Do you mean the Jeff and Casey show? We do the Jeff and Casey show on weekends. That's Jeff and I get together and do that for fun. I mean, as you know, it's our little fun hour. The Jeff and Casey show is where we just say anything and be stupid for an hour and you know, let off steam and stuff. So of course we will still be doing the Jeff and Casey show. That's non-negotiable. That thing will go probably forever. That thing will go way past the point where anyone wants to listen to it anymore, because we largely do it because we like it. And so, yeah. Here, some earlier recommendations were larger font. Okay, so larger font meaning for in here. Is that what we mean by larger font? Because that seems like something we can totally solve. Where is that? That is, I don't know where that is. Environment, fonts and colors. Fonts and colors. So if I go into text editor and I select a larger font, let's say a font that's that big. You know what? Let's address something else right now. This font is awful. Hook me up with some Liberation Mono, people. Hook me up. There we go. And I'm going to see Liberation Mono. Is that too big though? I feel like that's a little big. Let's try it slightly smaller. Maybe 11? Okay. And the other windows, all text tool windows. I don't know if this will work, but we can certainly try. Liberation mono, 10. Well, make it 12. Okay. Everything is bigger now. And I'll wait for the stream to catch up a little for you guys to tell me if that is big enough. Output window possible. Can you just hold crit and use the mouse wheel to change it? Let's try and dig into lower subarray. Couldn't make timing. Large font. Kids, something with decent kerning, readable. All right, so it looks like everything is good now. So I will save this, and I think that answers all the questions in the stream. So that will be it for tonight, and I will hopefully see everyone again tomorrow, also at 8 p.m. for the next installment, where we will do some more fun Windows stuff. Thanks for joining, everyone. Guess I should wave goodbye. Goodbye.